Well, I'm always excited to connect with my friend, my colleague, my client slash mentees extraordinaire, Helene Philipsen. Yay!
As am I.
I know, we have so much fun together. I love that it is now like our 1 year anniversary. And you have been, of course, a model client slash student mentee. Like your business and even just you as an expert and an authority, your confidence level, I've seen everything go through the roof. And in fact, I don't know anyone who's made as much progress and transformation as you in the last 12 months. But even what's crazy is the first like 5 or 6 months, everything in about your brand was completely transformed. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Why don't we just at least take us back to when we met? I guess it was November 2016 when I was speaking at, what was that?
Elevate.
Elevate in
Elevate
Copenhagen.
in Copenhagen. Yeah.
And then we started off our work together with the Authentic Authority Bootcamp. And so just tell me a little bit about where you were business-wise.
Yeah, I think it is actually our 1 year anniversary. And I remember it, I want to say like it was yesterday, because to sum it, I think what sums it up best, Andrea, is that I was really confused. Okay. So I felt like I was clear on my mission. I felt like I was clear on my skills. I felt like I was clear on a lot of different sort of moving parts. But what I couldn't figure out how to do was to glue it all together in a way that it made sense. And I kept feeling like I would look to one expert here for social media. I would look to one expert here on maybe speaking stuff or content or marketing and it just became super overwhelming because I didn't, then I would use some dollars here and some dollars there. And at the end of the day, what I was really left with all the time, and which I think is one of the best things for me, with having worked with you, was that I didn't have anybody who actually really saw me. I didn't have anybody who really got what I brought to the table in doing what I do. Because, I mean, let's face it, there are many mentors and coaches and people out there doing light work and helping people and facilitating change like I do with my emotional eating. But when I met you and we spoke for the first time in January or whenever it was, I could tell immediately that you actually saw me. I mean, you can't fake that stuff. So you saw me and you got my vibe and my language, and I swear sometimes, and I have my quirky ways, and so you really got me, and I could just feel that that's what I needed. That's really what I needed, because a lot of those sort of standardized solutions that were out there for marketing or for positioning myself or building my brand, which is where I was at, I actually kind of, I want to admit, thought I was done with that.
I know, because when you sent me that website,
I
I was
know.
like, wait a minute. I spent time with you on Skype. I got to feel exactly what you're saying. I saw you, your vibe. I know a lot about emotional eating from my days treating people with eating disorders. So I know what you did, and I knew your vibe, and I knew your vision. And then I saw that website. And I was like, it doesn't communicate not even one iota of that.
I
And I was
know.
like, do you remember? I was like, I don't know how I'm going to tell her this. I'm just going to have to be honest.
Yeah. No, and that's another quality. For me, that's been a huge quality of everything we've done together, whether it's been, friendly talking or sparring on business and all the mentoring that you've helped me with. And so when I started on the boot camp, that was part of it for me, was that honesty, actually. You're touching on exactly that point, was that, of course you're not, I mean, I don't have to say this, I think people feel that instantly. You're not mean. That's not what it's about at all. But honest feedback is so essential. And I hadn't really gotten that anywhere else at all. So for it to be brought together to a whole, when suddenly it all came together, and then it almost felt like I got a bit of tunnel vision, because it's like, okay, so this is how I channel all my juiciness, all my knowledge, all my wisdom into this, into my mission, into my work. And I remember it wasn't so long after we started also that I got to actually put words onto my mission, something that sounds quite simple, maybe quite sort of what's my mission statement, or my elevator pitch, but I can't even tell. And it's so funny. I think about it at least like a handful of times during just 1 week, how grateful I am for that work we did together. Because you know what? Every time I have a request to speak on a summit, every time somebody wants to interview me about something, I revert back to that initial work we did because I now have it. I have all my core stuff in place.
Yeah.
So I can send it out.
And that's a big thing, especially for people who have multiple passions and multiple areas of expertise. And definitely when you get into the space where you're working on a soul or a spiritual mission as a light worker, you got to be able to communicate that in a way that normal people, that the average person can understand. So let's talk about that. So you had no website, and now your website is kick-ass, amazing, totally has your vibe. I remember coaching you on getting photos. You went and got these amazing, gorgeous photos done with Matilda.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. And then I remember I introduced you to someone for your first summit, and now you're out there rocking them. You're doing multiple summits. You've hosted your own summit. Like, this is crazy, y'all. You don't understand. Helena has not only been on summits, and she's getting featured for her expertise, and we did some coaching through the media success thing, but now you went off, and I got this email, and I'm like, or a Facebook post, and I'm like, what? Helena's hosting a summit? I'm like, excuse me, she does. It's like the surgeon's motto: see one, do one, teach one. So it was like, you've done a couple, and now you're like, okay, I'll host my own.
Yeah.
So now and the other thing that also exploded, just in terms of you as a voice, as an expert, is I invited you onto the show, Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Pleasure on America Out Loud, and you completely owned it.
Yeah.
So let's talk
Yes.
about that, you being out now as a voice on video and on radio and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it ties back to the first part, which is, when you're a beginner, or if you're new, maybe beginner is the wrong word, but when you're new, actually getting all the stuff we just talked about in place so that it's there, what the words are, what the colors are, what the fonts are, when that whole platform is in place. I think that's when you overcome some of the fear of doing a summit or an interview, or then, getting to be a radio host in the States and all those things, because you're bringing it. You feel more comfortable bringing it. So you go out and you get that practice. And that's what I was so, fortunate to be able to do, which has been so amazing. So I've gotten to get so much practice on the summits, like you said, and then on the radio, and then with the interviews, and then for me being, me, I'm very sort of action orientated. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to go out and take it then. I'm going to go out and do it. But it helps, Andrea. It's helped me so much to have you on, like, I want to say in my ringside, in like my corner, sort of saying, this works, this is brilliant. No, that's too soon. Hold off on that. Maybe try going all in on this. Test this out, get some experience, just go out there and put yourself out there and see what happens. Take that, then you can start molding it or changing it. And so that support has also actually been a really big deal for me, because otherwise insecurity pops in, right? Like it would for anybody. You would have to not get insecure about sort of stepping into the global marketplace with all of those things. So I agree.
But you also had a huge vision. So we had to like pare it down and start logically, so that you didn't try stuff and then not get the kind of return that you wanted. And I remember getting a WhatsApp message from you just before the holidays where you were just like exasperated. I have too many clients. You had actually launched a group coaching course. Like I don't know if you actually take in all that you have accomplished. You've got a group course, you've got clients now. Now also look at where she's sitting. She actually now has a physical location. And if you can see behind her, she's also got 2 workbooks. for her emotional eating and her food freedom days. And she has an ebook on what is emotional eating. So, my God, you have done everything that we outlined in that vision has pretty much been checked off. Now all we have to do is get you on some more stages where you're speaking.
Yeah. Yeah, it has. It's been, I want to say crazy, but yet again, then again, it wasn't crazy because it was also a lot of hard work. And I definitely did put in the work, but I will say so did you. I mean,
Yeah.
the guidance is invaluable. It really is, because see, that's where normally I would then go out and say, okay, like I want to do an online group, so I better buy this program on how do you do an online course. And then there'll be this expert and he'll tell you, my standard solution is that if you just do this, you'll make $10,000 in 3 months and anybody can do it no matter what line of work you're in. And I'd be sitting there going, but my people have a lot of shame. My people have, a lot of blocks and old convictions with them and limiting beliefs. And he's like, huh? You know, and so I mean, yeah, no, the guidance in this has been key for me to be able to throw a ball to you and have it bounce back, whether it was, on Facebook, in the group, in the programs, or in the mentoring, has been really key to me when I had that, oh my God, like there's almost too much now. Okay, so
Yeah,
sit
and
down.
seeing you fly around, now you're having clients in multiple countries. So it's not like you're
Yes.
just rocking it there in Denmark or online groups. You went, what did you do? You flew to Belgium, you were in, what was the other one? London?
Yep.
Clients in the United States. So
Yep.
like in record time, you're able to like help people. And what has this done, I think, overall for your confidence that you know now you can actually rock it and win?
It's been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing, because I think one of the things that I needed was both like a little push, but also a helping hand in testing it out. I mean, that became one of my new mottos, is test and try. Just test and try, and kind of cut off all the expectations,
Yeah.
take what comes, learn from it, grow from it. And so now I dare do it. I still get nervous about stuff. I mean, of course I do. Then suddenly I have a client in Australia and like all these things. And so I'll still get nervous, but not in a bad way. And I'm getting to have so much experience now that I feel completely at home within my topic. I know this is my expertise. This is my wisdom. This is where I know my stuff with my eyes closed. You could wake me up in the middle of the night and I'd be like, hey, okay, I see what's happening with you, because this is what I know,
Yeah.
But now I just dare share that with the world. Whereas before I was a little bit reluctant with that too, because I wasn't, am I good enough? I mean, can I do it? Can I be professional enough? Can I be, and I think like your words of wisdom was basically just, listen, you just need to be you. You just need to be you. And then here are some ways in which you can share your message and people will actually understand it.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the key, because people will then self-identify that you're the expert, you're going to be able to help me, and I'm willing to do this with you, even though many people who have emotional eating or eating disorders have, like you talked about, all the shame and the guilt and the fear and all of that. So I think it's been beautiful. What have been some of the success stories from some of the clients you've worked with so far? I loved how you invited people to actually celebrate at the end, and they came to your space, Lightworks in Copenhagen. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we just did that. We did what it's a Danish phenomena, but maybe it isn't Danish, where instead of doing a New Year's Eve that you would normally probably reserve for loved ones, family, whatever, then a couple of weeks after New Year's, you gather with people, and it is kind of like a New Year celebration, a New Year courtship, I almost want to call it. So what I did was I just decided we'd had such a good time in those online groups that I did last year. I thought, okay, let me just throw out an open invitation. Would you guys like to actually meet in real life? And they were just, yay! They were all about it, and so was I. And so, okay, I said, I'll open up Lightworks. We can meet here. I'll make sure that
Oh,
there's something appropriate to eat and drink or whatever, and it'll be about connecting with each other. And so they flew in from all over the place, all over the country, but also from abroad, and which was just like, talk about gratitude. I mean, that was just very, very moving for me and for them, I think. So we celebrated like that, and that was Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I just had another testimonial email today from out of the blue from a lady saying, listen, this has changed my life. I now have a toolbox packed with tools that I'll be able to use whenever I need them for the rest of my life. Connecting with other women in a group, I never thought would have been possible for me like that, opening up, sharing the stuff I did, and my growth has just been crazy. So I can't, thank you enough for the method you developed, and I'm so happy I bumped into you. And I get these testimonials where I'm like, because I so remember what it felt like to be in their shoes. But anyway, of course, there's also the ego part of me that is very, very freaking thrilled that they are getting these amazing results with my method. And I wouldn't have been able to connect with them if they hadn't found me on my beautiful new website,
Yeah,
And I do
and you also rock it on social media.
I do what I can, and I try really not to focus on the stuff before. I was very focused on, like how many likes would it get, or
Yeah.
how many, and now obviously having been through the boot camp and the program with you, I have my focus is entirely elsewhere, and that works.
Yeah.
It really does work, because what they want is they want to connect,
Yes.
and I remember you've said that to me, words of wisdom, so many times. You've said, what we all want is connect to the source. We just want to connect to the source. So make yourself available, on that Facebook Live, in that group of yours, in that. And so I've done that, and like, amen, knock on wood. That's,
Well, I'm glad you bring up the idea of connection, because that's why I'm so excited to partner with you on the Real Self-Love movement. Because when people are coming out of shame and guilt and hiding and learning to love their authentic self, no matter what sort of drama or trauma they've had in the past, they need connection. They need to connect with a community that gets them, that sees them, that loves them unconditionally. So I think what you've done with emotional eating is going to fit so perfectly within the Real Self-Love movement, because I really do see nurturing our body and coming to a point where we don't reach for food to comfort ourselves or to feel loved or to, any number of reasons why we might abuse food. So thank you for being willing to join us on this Real Self-Love movement.
Yes, it is real self-love. That is basically, it sums up all the work that I do. So when I heard that, and when you said that and introducing this whole big movement of yours with that, I'm like, yes, I'm all in. I'll carry the biggest banner.
I
Yeah.
love it. So in addition to you hosting events now in multiple cities, but starting off in Copenhagen, tell me about Food Freedom Days.
Yes. Basically, I came up with the idea because I discovered that there was a lot of people who want to connect to the work that I do, but who maybe are not at a place yet where they feel that they want to dive into a one-on-one mentoring for 12 weeks, maybe don't want to participate in an 8-week online program. It could also be that financially they can't. It could be that they want inspiration. I just discovered that there's a lot of people out there who want to get started doing this work with themselves, right? By themselves. And I thought, okay, how do we do this? Because we know from experience with like all these self-development events that you've gone to, that I've gone to, we know that 3 to 5% go home and do stuff. Everybody else doesn't change nothing, right? So we get inspired, but we don't change anything in our lives. So I thought, what's it going to take? What we need is those 2 to 2.5 days together where we start working my method, where we start working the exercises, or where, if you've already done some of this work, you're maybe in recovery, you get to reconnect to the healing. It brings you back on track. It brings the good exercises in. And I thought, that's it, because then you've gotten to go into the layers below with that work before you go home. So you're rolling. And I thought, then the vibe of it, the inspiration, the connection, the tribe of it, I just thought that is the event that I have wanted to go to my whole life.
Yeah.
So that is why it makes sense. It creates those connections for, often for life, because it is that shame-free space. And then it has a positive focus. Yeah. Food freedom, we get to step out of comfort eating or emotional eating, or maybe just a troublesome relationship with food or with our bodies and our weight, and then dive into what is the work that makes sense for me every day. What is the good little things on awareness, on compassion, on real self-love that I can do. So that is the essence of the Food Freedom Days.
I love it. I can't wait to join you for that. I can't wait to host
Yeah.
one in the south of France or maybe in the United States with you. I would love, love, love that. Well, my dear, you have been such an inspiration to me. You are definitely the reason why I go the extra mile with my mentoring clients, because it's just a joy. It's a joy to know that not only are you rocking it in business, you're earning much more than what you invested with the programs, but you're touching lives and you're able to instantly see the effects that you're having with people. So I just want to say I honor you and I celebrate with you, and I'm so happy and proud of you, and I look forward to all the things we're going to partner on next.
Yes, and I thank you, and I say all of those gorgeous things right back to you. I call you my one-stop shop because you have both the tools and the knowledge and the love and the spirituality, and that is what I needed. It was that one place where it all came together. So I thank you. You know, there's a thing we say in emotional eating treatments. We say, thank you for being here so that I can be here. You know, and that's very much what it is for me. So I thank you too, Andrea, for everything you have lifted and guided and shown me so that I can do what I do today.
Much love.
Yeah.
Thank you, darling. I wish you a fabulous rest of your day.
Yes, you too.
So everyone, if you haven't already checked her out, helenephilipsen.com, and if you speak Danish, you can go to the .dk. Check her out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. She is out there spreading positivity and love. Much love. Ready to clarify your brand image and share more of your brilliance with the world? Learn more about my mentoring, coaching, and publishing programs, as well as the one-year Global Luminary Academy. Visit makeyourmarkglobal.com.